Confucius defines the problem of his day, and he defines it in a very simple way. He says, we have lost the way. We've lost the way. If there's a path, somebody must have walked it before you. You know that it has to go somewhere. It has a destination. And you know if you're on it or not. And Confucius' way of saying we've lost the way is to say we are not on the right path. And so his job is to say what that path is, how to be on the right path. There's a larger problem here, perhaps, that a contrast with the Western tradition or the Mediterranean tradition. Or Plato, who keeps saying that the ideas, the forms that we represent in the world can never really be equal to the real and true form. In the Western tradition, there is necessarily going to be a gap between is and ought, and we will not recover. After Adam and Eve bit the apple, people fell in the Judeo-Christian tradition and can never fully recover. But for Confucius, he granted that there was a gap between how we ought to be and how we are. We're not on the path, and we should be on the path. But he was convinced that we could get back to the right place, that there did not need to be any gap between is and ought. That at a certain moment, we could act spontaneously and do what was right, that we could be entirely on the right path. He says at one point, I was 15 when I set my will on learning, and then he says, at 70, I could follow my desires without overstepping the bounds. I could live this spontaneous, real life, and yet a proper and moral life.